Hello, traders. Welcome to another trading week. I hope you guys had a very good week because I did. And I'm not going to be making a series of videos today. I'm just going to make it one video, which is going to look at the review of last week and then what we expect to price to do this week. And I'm starting here because this was where I started giving you guys trade setup over the week. I gave this Bitcoin chart, and I also to let you realize that price is most likely going to sell off from that point. And if you see that I was being mindful of not making the arrow much longer beyond the trend line. And the reason for that is because I could see that there is a temporary support zone around here where price will get to and not be able to break beyond, based on the fact that we are in an uptrend and there's a possibility that the sell-off right here may be very, very short. And so I gave that trade setup. That was what price eventually did. Price got to that zone and then it made a bounce up from there. I also let you guys see that there's a possibility of dollar index gaining some strength, and then this was when the flush down of Bitcoin eventually started. It sold out from that point up to this zone where we had a temporary support zone where price got to and couldn't break, but we were able to take advantage of that sell-off that happened at that period. And then for US30 also, I told you guys in the last video, it was the last recording, that immediately market opened on Monday that we are going to be taking a sell opportunity. And then when market opened, we're still asleep during those period around here before eventually I was able to spot that, beginning of the sell setup around the pivot line, around the pivot area where price eventually sold up from. The same structure for US30, for NASDAQ. Price eventually started the sell-off immediately market opened on that Monday, which was what we had anticipated. And then I also gave the trade setup for you to know where price will most likely get to and pause before it continues to sell down. And so those are the things that happened over the week, and we are happy that we are able to take advantage of that. Let me go to the trading view chart. For the trading view chart, I gave this trade setup on 1 hour time frame, and then I gave it the price was going to be getting here, which was what eventually happened. Price got to that support zone and then it bounced up from there and then rallied. This is where we are right now, and I'm going to let you guys know what we expect from that point. So for NASDAQ, I told you that there may be a sell-off starting from that point, or price may get to this area before that sell-off happens. Right now, we have not really moved far from that trade setup. Price have only gone down to this place, and then it's more or less like just ranging for now. It's more or less just still within the open and close period. And then for BTC USD, we are still expecting that there may be a sell-off, a major sell-off, but that sell-off has not happened yet. Price have just made it sell, and they're still dancing around that same zone. And we're going to look at how price should unfold very soon. And then for dollar index, I told you guys that we may first see some weaknesses in dollar and then some strength later on. So when we are expecting that weakness, that's when we expect the gold charts, the gold chart, the US30, the NASDAQ to be gaining strength. And so we are going to look at this dollar index, where we are right now and what we expect price to do soon. I think those are what we looked at over the week. And so I'm going to go to my MT4 right now. I'm going to start from gold and start from the daily time frame possibly, and then we'll look at what we expect. So right now, gold is still within the end of wave C. It's still within the end of wave C, and we're expecting a sell reaction from this zone. So there are two possibilities, just like I explained to you. The other price is staying to this area, before it does a sell-off, or it's going to retest this area that it is right now, and then do that pullback before it then continues in the trend. So as it is right now, I think the first point that we're supposed to look at is the dollar index. Let's go to the dollar index chart. This is the dollar index chart, and let's go to the daily time frame. So if you remember in the last recording, I told you guys that there's a possibility that price is first going to come to this horizontal line right here to kind of test it and reject it. That's when you expect the strength in US dollars. So as it is right now, you notice the daily time frame, and we have 5 trading days over the week, over last week, and if we count it backward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So dollar index have not really made any major movement from the last time that we analyzed, and so we are still expecting that it gets all the way down to this horizontal line, which means that there's tendency that dollar is still going to gain some strength. And so when it's expected to meet that strength, you then expect the US30, the gold, and all that to sell off. And then after that, by the time this then happens, so I'm expecting this to happen. And then after that, by the time this pushback start happening, that's when you expect the gold charts, the US30, and the NASDAQ to then start gaining strength. But for now, that has not happened. What we're expecting in the very short time right now is a continuation of the weakness of the USD. So it's going to most likely get to this point. And so let's see what structure is forming on the 4 hours or the 1 hour time frame. So as it is right now, price is just still, the structure is not clear yet, but it's going to be very clear in the very short term period to come. And so it's looking more likely that it's going to be giving us a diagonal structure, something like this. So it may go up for some little. Let me change the font of the color of that to, I think, white. So it may go up a little, but there's every tendency that the final destination before the major pullback is this zone, giving us this kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 formation before we then make that bounce off to the upside. So as it is right now, we are still going to be expecting the overall sentiment on dollar index is that we are still going to be expecting some weakness for some time. So if we are then expecting weakness, a short-term weakness on USD, it will let us have an understanding of what to expect on the gold chart, the US30, and the NASDAQ. So as it is right now, the structure on gold charts is forming very, very close to what we can see on the dollar index, but the reverse. We are now looking at the reverse in this case. So I'm expecting a reverse of what we were able to spot on the dollar index right here on the gold chart. So you can see right now the price is just still, making a consolidation around here for a possible push up to this zone before it then eventually start selling. So that is what we should be expecting on the dollar index. We should expect some consolidation around here. But where you are going to be getting that buy from is if price gets to this zone. So if you get to this zone, then you can try to take a buy trade to end somewhere around the 1951 zone. So that's what I'm going to be looking at for on Monday. Tomorrow market open, I'm going to be looking at for the possibility of price coming to this area and then rejecting this previously support, this previously resistance that is now broken and being retested as support for the final push up that will then give us an indication of where price will get to for the sell off to happen. So on Monday, I'm going to be looking out for a buy setup right here up to that price zone, in which case we are then going to be looking out for that sell happening around this zone, giving us a 1, 2, a 3, and then all this will push to the downside 4, and then finally a 5 around here. So let me just adjust the trend line, kind of very fine. Yeah. So I'm going to be looking out for that sell, for that buy and sell on a very short one. It may not be that much, and at that period, you are going to be expecting that there's going to be a divergence that will be forming on the your RSI. I don't have the RSI plugged yet, but if you plug in your RSI, you see that we're going to be having a divergence that will be forming around here where we will have that sell setup. So for US30, or the Dow Jones, this was where I told you guys to watch out for. That immediately market opens on Monday, that we're going to be taking a sell trade. Let me even go to the 1 hour time frame and then activate this Y. So 5 days ago, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this was where we the last trading day. This was where we were, and I told you guys that there's most likely going to be a sell setup that will happen on the Dow Jones. I was able to get in somewhere around here. And was able to take advantage of that sell. So let me take it out. So what are we expecting from the Dow Jones right now? I'm going to draw a line around here. So there's every tendency that price is going to test this area and possibly first reject it before any other thing may most likely happen. So I'm just going to draw this line around here and then make it not to show on the higher time frame. I just want it to show on up to the 4 hours time frame and somewhere around here. So what I'm saying in essence is this: price got to this area, got to that area, and then bounced off. And then there are lots of rejections around here. So there's every tendency that price is going to come to this area and then reject. So in which case we may be expecting something, something like this before price eventually go all the way down to this zone. So right now is in the middle of nowhere. Is actually in the middle of both the resistance and support zone. So it is not, that ideal for you to want to jump in unless you know how to really trade it. So let's go to the lower time frame and see if there's a structure that can help us to get into that area. The only thing that we can look out for is if price come back all the way to retest this initial resistance that may eventually turn to support. So if price come all the way down to this point and then start giving you some candlestick formation, then you want to get in from here for the next bullish setup that may end somewhere around here, which is where we're going to be looking out for our real sell starting around here. So if you know how to get in, if price gets to this area, then you want to take a short buy, but just know that that short buy may be very, very risky, but it's not going to be for long, because now we have a resistance area that we are targeting where price will most likely get to and reverse. So that's how you're going to be getting in. So on Monday, we just hope and pray that price come all the way down to this zone so that we can get in for the buy and then look out for candlestick reaction around here for us to take the sell. So the sell is going to then, complete this structure, just like I said before, up all the way to this area. We're going to see how price unfolds eventually over the week. And so then for US tech, that's in NASDAQ, this was where we were last week, this area, and I told you that this sell is most likely going to happen. So let me go to the 1 hour time frame and count 5 days back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this was where we were. This was where we were on Monday last week, and then after price finished this structure, which is a diagonal structure, and ended here where we had this harmonic pattern, the sell-off eventually happened. So I was able to get in at this point. This was the point I was able to get in for that sell. and then it happened all the way down to that point before eventually made this push back. So let's see what we expect over the in the coming week. Let me go back to the daily time frame. I think there's not much activity on the daily time frame. So on the 4 hours time frame, there's every tendency that price may do a little pushback around here. So if it comes back to this area, we want to enter the buy setup that may most likely take us back to around the 1168.7 zone. So let's go to the maybe the 15 minutes time frame. So we have a harmonic pattern that suggests that there may be a pullback around here, which is going to be very, very good for us to get in. So the sell for this harmonic pattern is not supposed to be that long. It's just supposed to, end somewhere around here. And then, so it means that if we have price coming all the way down to this point, then we want to look at the possibility of buying up all the way to retest the initial high that price made before we then look at the possibility of another sell setup. So the same structure that we have on the Dow Jones that we just analyzed at the US30 is what we also have very close to what may most likely be happening on the NASDAQ chart. So if you want to get in, we expect some pullback up to this area where there were initial support zone, and then if price rejects and give a candlestick formation around there, we want to get in for the last push up to this initial high before a sell setup can then occur. So we are looking for a push. We are looking for a push to this area for us to get in, and then we are looking for price possibly getting to this area where we are going to be taking a sell. Now remember this: the setup on the dollar index chart is that price may most likely first come down before the main retracement then start. So based on that, we are supposed to be looking for a possible reverse of this instant right now. So that means we are supposed to be looking at this is dollar index first coming down. So we are supposed to be looking at a first push up of the US30 and the NASDAQ before eventually then start selling down. So which is what we have around here. So we are going to be looking at a push up so somewhere around here before we eventually have that sell-off happening later on. So if you have that understanding, it makes it very easy for you to know how to position yourself. And then for S&P 500, the same structure is what we have right here in the S&P 500. I'm just adding that to the analysis I'm going to be making. Both the US30, the US30, which is the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the S&P 500 have very, very similar structure. And so what it means is that you're not supposed to take all the three at once because they have similar structure, which means that if you take all the three and then price start going against you, then every tendency that you're going to be losing all the three trades. So at the very best maximum, you're going to take one or two out of the three based on the setup, and then you're going to be dividing your risk. So if it means that if you plan to risk 2%, you can then share the 2% between the two setups that you want to take, whether it's going to be the Dow Jones or the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. So as it is right here, there's every tendency that we may most likely be retesting this initial high. So let's see if we can get a structure that will help us to get in. Remember that we have a very similar structure of it on the US30 and the NASDAQ. So if price gets to somewhere around here and then start giving us some kind of information, we want to get in for the push to the upside before price eventually do the setup. And so price may get some kind of much more complicated, giving us this kind of structure that's maybe a triangle or a flag setup. In any case that comes, even if we enter around here, just have it at the back of your mind that it may go much more complex than it's just doing a simple retracement and then going that up. It may not be that simple. Sometimes it can get very, very complicated, and just still need to be in the trade because the next move that is going to be happening is going to be very, very massive. And so that is how we are going to be trading the gold charts, which I just explained to you. We are going to be looking out for a buy setup around here up to this zone and then sell up. And then for US30, the same way, we are going to be looking out for a push around here where price will most likely go up before we then have that sell. And then for the NASDAQ, the same similar structure. We're going to be looking out for price coming all the way down to here where we want to buy, and then up to that point we want to look for the sell setup. And then for the S&P500, very similar. Also, we expect a pushback all the way to this area, and then we can then take that buy and then later on take that sell. For the Bitcoin, the structure on Bitcoin is very interesting actually. And so what we had here before was the possibility of price, giving us a diagonal structure. Let me delete this lines so that it will be clearer. So what we are looking at for before was price to get to somewhere around here and then starts doing that pullback to the downside. But that did not happen. Price actually broke above this our trend line and is currently trading above it. So now in this case, what may most likely be happening right now is that the structure that we're expecting that price may get to the fifth zone may most likely not happen anymore. It depends though, and we are going to see if that is still possible or not. So now, but then because price have made this move to the upside, it's supposed to make a correction of that move. So that means we are expecting a pullback to somewhere around here. We're expecting a pullback to somewhere around here, which means that it's going to most likely come to retest the initial resistance area as a support before it then continue in the uptrend. However, if it still plans to go and complete the structure that we had before, then this is most likely going to be happening. Price is going to be breaking below this level right there. It's going to be breaking below this level, make a pullback and then go down. However, if the correction that it wants to make here is going to be very deep, then it means that the worst place that price should go to if you want to go up is this line, which was why you see that I had two lines there before. So if price is going to be going up, there are two areas that it should not reject. It's either it shouldn't reject this point, in which case it retests it as a support and then go up, or it make a deep correction up to this area and then give us an inward shoulder edge shoulder pattern, just like I explained before in the previous recording, and then starts the journey to the upside. So if you want to check whether the Bitcoin is going to be bullish or not, those are the two levels that we need to watch out for. If it doesn't break this level, then the bullish run has started. However, if it makes a deep correction and then still doesn't break below this level, then it's going to start the bullish correction, the bullish trend. However, if it breaks beyond this, the end of that first shoulder, if it breaks beyond it, then it means that we are going to be having the journey up to the up to the wave 5 of this structure that we have identified before the bull structure then start, the bull run then start. So those are the instances that we are going to be looking out for. But right now, there's every tendency that there's going to be a pullback around that zone. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame and see what's currently forming. I think I would prefer this one without wave count. So this is what we have currently. Price is trading within a resistance and the support is just kind of trapped in that zone. So there's every tendency that it may first come all the way down here, reject it, and then go for the last swing, giving us more of a divergence before that sell setup happens. But for me right now, I can see that the structure on Bitcoin is not that so clear. And so the only time I want to look for a sell is if price push back up to this area. If you put back up to this area, then I'm going to be taking that sell. Also, if it breaks below this resistance, if it breaks this below this support and then come back to test that support that it has broken, then I want to be taking my trade there. So there are two instances of the sell setup at this point and at that point, possibly all the way to the monthly and weekly resistance or pivot area. That's where we are going to be looking at for where price may most likely get to and bounce up. So those are what we should expect, in the coming week. And then as time unfolds or as the setup gets completed, I'm then going to send you guys the trade setup in the group. So that's it, and I wish you guys a very successful trading week. If you have any question or you want to get trained, you can chat me up within the group, and I'll be very much available to help you out. Enjoy your week, guys, and bye for now.